Okay, so I'm just going to play the video now, and then we'll turn it over to Jeremy.
I've been turning out so wonderful. What they can do with their potential, their spiritual potential. I'm not saying religion. I'm saying the spiritual. And there's no greater force in the world than ideas.
It's barely a speck on the map. A prairie crossroads on the flatlands of southern Saskatchewan, like so many others. But come to Wilcox, the home of Per Athol Murray and the Notre Dame Hounds, and understand that you've landed in one of hockey's holy places.
It was hockey that brought me there, but there's much more going on there inside the rink than I expected. As soon as you drove in there and you saw the church, you saw the dorms, you saw the ice rink, it just had this special feeling that surrounded it.
100 years ago, a residential elementary and high school was founded in Wilcox by the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis. 7 years later, Father Murray arrived from Toronto. His first class consisted of 15 boys. Those whose families couldn't afford the tuition paid in potatoes and wheat.
The guy that I went to school with and played hockey all my life with, he says, well, why didn't you come to Notre Dame? He was going to Notre Dame at the time. And I said, well, my family can't afford it. Lo and behold, we got a call from Martin Kenny, who was the president of the college at the time, and said, come and check it out, and we'll figure it out. It was the best decision I ever made.
What is your basic philosophy in regard to education and sport, combining the two? My theory is if you can make a boy evolve, to make him break through the imperceptions, give him sport. Give him a chance to exemplify his power, his potential, you get a tremendous Canadian. The gang at Notre Dame, they live up to the code.
Father Murray brought with him a powerful philosophy, designed not just to produce great hockey players, but great people, great citizens, and great leaders, through a combination of academics, athletics, and faith.
Per Murray believed in the great religions of the world, and you believe in having the ability to make a difference in the world.
Our vision is for our students to become purposeful leaders, and we do that through our mission of balanced education of mind, body, spirit in this boarding environment in this small rural Saskatchewan village.
They teach you to become a great person, not just the one football player, the one hockey player. It's about developing the person, and Notre Dame takes pride in that.
Whether you were going there to play hockey or not, that's something that everybody at that school made the choice of. This is going to be part of my upbringing and part of my values and my culture.
The message that kept coming back to me was, he talked about being a hound and being the Notre Dame man, and there's a great poem that Athol Murray wrote, and it's perfect, I think.
The world today is looking for men and women, Father Murray wrote, who are not for sale, who are honest, sound from center to circumference, true to the heart's core, with consciences as steady as the needle to the pole, who will stand for the right if the heavens totter and the earth reels, who can tell the truth and look the world right in the eye, who neither brag nor run, who neither flag or flinch.
The friendships and the bonds you make at that school, those are people you lived in the dorms with, the people you went through the hardships with, the people you went through the winters with. Everything was done together.
You got all kinds of responsibilities, whether it's picking up garbage out of the seats or cleaning dishes at varsity. It was just a unique bonding experience with everybody that went there.
It's like you really grow up, you learn a lot, you're surrounded by good people, and you go in there to succeed and learn.
You have to have order, you have to have structure, you have to have accountability. Same very things that I believe in as a coach.
You can find Notre Dame Hounds throughout the National Hockey League. On the ice, behind benches, in front offices. But Father Murray's legacy, more than 40 years after his death, extends far beyond the game he loved.
When you come out of Notre Dame, there's a transformation. You know, I talked to my parents when I came home the first time. They said you were just different, and in a very good way. I would say more respectful, more understanding of being a good person in the world that can test you in so many ways.
You learn a lot when you're going to Notre Dame, and you're able to learn some serious life lessons, and you're able to draw from them down the road.
Classmates and your teammates are pushing themselves, whether it's in school and sports. So it's just a good environment to be around, and I'm not sure if I'd be here without them, but really, really enjoyed my time there.
If there's one thing I can ever say about that school, I went in a boy and I left a man, and I think that's what Athol wanted to do with the kids that went there.
Here at this college, I keep telling them all the time that everyone is insignificant until he himself makes himself great.
Never lose heart, Hounds. Never lose heart, Hounds.
Never lose heart, Hounds.
Never lose heart, Hounds.
Do you think you're
All right, perfect. So just a reminder, the people who came in late, if you can please turn off any video. You're welcome to change your name at the top. The 3 little dots at the top of your screen, you should be able to change your name however you'd like for privacy reasons. And I'm going to turn it now over to Jeremy Mylymok, who will now talk about the hockey program.
First of all, hope everybody's safe at home, and everybody's, obviously it's a tough time for everybody, but one thing it has given us is some chance to hang out with family a little more and spend more time with our loved ones. So it's always a positive, and that's things you look at in Notre Dame too. We're always trying to find the positives out here. And my quick introduction, obviously, my name is Jeremy Mylymok, Director of Hockey. With us today is James McGuigan, our male coordinator, and Craig Parrott, who is our female coordinator. We'll have a chance for Craig to talk on the female side a little bit later. My background is I graduated from Notre Dame as a 4-year Hound back in 1990. My experience since Notre Dame, I left to go play college hockey. So my experience is as a player, a coach, a mentor, recruiter, director, and scout. So pretty much from anything from learn to skate up to pro hockey I've been involved with. So a lot of experience, and a lot of what we do here at Notre Dame was obviously established and put into place before I got here. And all I try to do is stay true to that and add things as needed. But at the end of the day, our hockey program is going to be about development. Our philosophy is winning is a byproduct of our players' development. And, for that to happen, you need to have some things in place. You got to have the facilities. You got to have the coaches. You got to have the program for your child to be in to take those steps. With our facilities, our weight room's on campus. It's attached to the arena. Our locker rooms are all right on campus, obviously inside the arena. Our skill center was built 3 years ago, and that's attached to our locker rooms in the backside of the arena. 3,000 square feet of synthetic ice. We have rapid shot and rapid hands inside of it. We have 4 shooting lanes. It's like a miniature rink there with boards and glass. So it's a fantastic way for our players to develop as well. Also, specialized coaches is huge. Nowadays, it's not just enough to have coaches in your program. You got to have specialized coaches. We have that here. We have a full-time strength coach that works with every team here. All our athletes, we get to know Adam on a personal level. There's time we have scheduled in for our teams to have workouts, and there's also open times where individuals can work out on their own time, their free time. We have a saying here, or at least a belief, that our top athletes usually find time, to do the extras afforded to them. So our top athletes are always looking at their schedules, find that open time. They get that extra workout in, or an hour of shooting pucks, and they take that next step a little quicker. So we also have a full-time goalie coaches. So we have Russell Abbott and Alexei Kolosov, our 2 goalie coaches. With them, they're on the ice pretty much every practice. We have goalies only sessions with them throughout the season every week, and they're getting a lot of, again, individual attention as well. We also have skills coaches. So outside of our regular practice times, we will have skills coaches that work with your players in the mornings, usually the first 2 blocks before school starts, or actually, sorry, 1 hour before school starts, and the first block of the day will be a skills session, and that rotates throughout the year. So plenty of ice time here, plenty of direction, plenty of instruction, and they're going to get better. Also a mental performance coach. We talk a lot about preparation, goal setting, dealing with the pressures of our athletes nowadays. The mental toughness and also the mental health is important, that our athletes are in a good place. And with the structure we have here and the support, your athlete's going to learn how to be a well-rounded, independent athlete, which is important. I think also, our philosophy on the off-ice piece in the weight room is, I know for a fact you cannot be an elite athlete or elite hockey player on the ice if you're not elite off the ice. So you can be a good player. Don't get me wrong. There's some skilled athletes that are good enough just naturally on their abilities, but you get to a certain point, midget AAA, high-level midget, junior A hockey and beyond. If you're not a top athlete off the ice, you're not getting stronger. You will be left behind for sure. There's no doubt. And that's one thing we try to instill in our players at an early age is, get in the workouts, learn how to train sport specifically. And our workouts are very well organized and scheduled. So we're not doing a full leg day before a game. Everything's, we have a method to our scheduling here with everything, and everything fits in like one big puzzle. Our roadmap is really strong for our athletes to follow. And if they buy into what we do here, they're going to get better. They'll take a huge step. A lot of extras here afforded to them. And then also, our emphasis too is, again, you heard Barry Trott say it, and had the pleasure of meeting John Cooper a couple of years ago. Accountability is huge here. Our athletes need to be held accountable. They need to buy into our team structure. They need to buy into what we do as individuals here. And when we do that, we have a pretty big impact on our athletes and our teams. We spend a lot of time with our athletes and with our teams as a whole, as the coaching staff, as a hockey department. So we make sure, again, they're buying into what we do here. I think we want leaders. We want kids to be leaders here. It's amazing how many of our NHL players and college players and junior players, are captains or assistant captains on their teams. I think a lot of that has to do with their independent athletes, and they know what's right and wrong. They know how to train properly off the ice. They know how to be a good teammate. They were held accountable throughout their time here, and they learn how to be leaders amongst their peers, which is a big part of it. We want great teammates too, and we want independent young athletes. And I think overall, you're going to get out here too is also you're going to make friendships for life. Being a Hound and graduating as a Hound is important for us to see our athletes go through. You're going to learn a lot of life lessons here outside of the hockey rink that are going to help you as people, not just as hockey players. And we want well-rounded student athletes here, not just hockey players. So it's important for us as well. And our program structure will be a little bit of a wrinkle next year coming up. We're going to have our U18 AAA Hounds will play in the Saskatchewan Midget AAA League. We'll have a U17 AAA or prep team playing in the Canadian Sports School Hockey League. We have a U16 prep AAA team in the Canadian Sports School Hockey League. We also have a U18 AA teams, U18 single A teams. Then we have U15 prep in the Sports School League, and then U15 AA plays in the SAS Bantam League. And our female side will have the U18 SAS Female AAA Hockey League there, one team there, and we'll have another U18 AA team. So all in all, we have a junior A team in the SJHL as well. So we have 11 teams here. It's a busy arena, and people might say, well, how much are we on the ice with that many teams there? We're on the ice probably an average 5-6 times a week. And with our games and practices, and once we get going here with our schedule, most of our practices are within the school hour. It's part of our block system, part of our phys ed class. So instead of going to PE, you go to hockey, and that's scheduled throughout your blocks throughout the day. And that varies from week to week, your practice times. But overall, we're on the ice 5-6 times, and our athletes got a ton of ice. They get a lot better here. That's about all I have. We'll keep it short. And then, again, we like to have some questions opened up down the side. If you want to type any questions you have for me, let me know. Also, I know Don's given everybody my contact information, as well as Craig's and James. And if you have questions for us and don't want to type it today or ask, feel free to contact us anytime. I know it's a lot of uncertainties right now, but we're moving forward. Our recruiting's been great. A lot of families are interested. We're still having families register today. So our plan is to, again, move ahead with our seasons, get our athletes back on campus here. It's pretty quiet right now, so it's been a nice chance to kind of reflect and get some things done. But we're excited for next season and build our teams and get going.
Perfect. Well, we'll have Craig Parrott now. He can speak on our female program. Craig.
Thanks, Dawn. Again, I'll reiterate Jeremy said, thanks for everybody coming on. Really appreciate your time. Not a whole lot to add to what Jeremy said. Just to build off of it a bit is with the two teams, we also try and hit at least 3 showcase events in a year. In female hockey, your next step is typically post-secondary education. We have kids committed to NCAA Division I, to U Sport, to the ACHA, and to the ACAC coming out of our program last year. So most of our kids all have post-secondary opportunities. We typically go to one tournament in the U.S. We host one, the Mandy Schwartz Invitational in Wilcox, and the second tournament is typically in Canada as well too. So we're trying to touch on all those places where we can get kids into post-secondary education. I have weekly conversations with college scouts right across the country, right across North America, and just, looking forward to seeing everybody get back into things. And I know we're down a little bit here, but we're all in the same boat and looking forward to September coming quick.
Awesome. Thanks, Craig. So we are going to open it up to questions. If you have a question, you can definitely send it to me privately, or you can just put it on the group chat. Jeremy, James, and Craig are all open to answering any questions you may have in regards to any of our U18, U16, or U15 programs. Please feel free to ask the question. So I did have one question come in here. Jeremy, I'll direct this to you. What's the impact of us losing that AAA team out of the SAS League, and kind of what's the direction we're going with that program?
Well, the impact is we're going to place a team in the U17 prep division of the CSSHL. So we'll have that AAA team again. Our development pathway is going to go from 15, 16, 17, and up to 18. So with our U17 team prep as well, it's a new division in the Sports School Hockey League. They've done away with their midget, used to be called midget varsity. They're now doing a U17 prep or U17 AAA division. So that's the route we're going. They're also going to allow overagers, meaning grade 12s, 03s next year, can play in that U17 division. So if they're not ready for the U18 level of the SAS AAA League and they got to spend a year playing 17s, again, it's another road for us to develop our players and gives our players a chance to stay at the age group and level that they need to be in to take that next step in their development. At the end of the day, for us, I have these conversations a lot. All we want for our players is to get better. It's important we place them at a level where they can have success. They're not chasing all the time. We got to see the pucks on their stick. We got to see them having the confidence to make plays. We got to see them having the confidence to bounce back after mistakes. So I think we're excited for our development pathways with our program, and that's the plan for next season. So our goals are not in the SAS AAA League, but we have another avenue for them to go down.
Perfect. Another question here came in is how do you decide player placement?
So 2 ways. Player placement we do. If you see a kid throughout the season that we're confident and we know where they fit in, we watch them play. We've had them on campus. We do campus day visits throughout the year, which obviously we can't do right now. We have spring showcases, which obviously we can't do right now. So for us, a little different this year. We're going to rely on what we've seen, who we've seen, and where. Our ability, we do a virtual scout email now where we've had families send in the clips of their players from the previous season. We'll watch those throughout the day multiple times. We'll reach out to their coaches or contacts that have seen these kids play, and if we're comfortable where they fit in. And obviously part of my job is being connected in my network and trusting those around me, and placing players on teams before they get there is probably going to be more what we look into this year than previous seasons. Because in the past we have a tryouts at the start of the year. when all our registered students show up, those first 2 weeks, we do a midget tryout, and then we place our players on teams from there. Now, with that being said, some of our players will have their spots slotted before they get here. I think it's only natural that if we have a kid that played here last year on our top team and he had a great season, we know he's going to be there. But there's always going to be those kids that surprise us, that put in the work. The kids show up here that played midget A the year before, they make AAA. So, and we have the kids that played AAA that maybe didn't put in the work and they plateau a little bit. So, overall, I think this year, depending how long this goes, we're also looking at doing some spring showcases, now moving the dates back in the summer. If things open up in July and our ice can go back in, we'd love to get some dates sent out and get some families out here to walk the grounds, visit the campus, get their players on the ice. So that'll all be in the works, and we'll send that information out to everybody in this database we have. But if we don't get on the ice at that time, we'll look to place players before they get back here.
Perfect. I'll ask this one to James McGuigan here. How will you do player evaluations, particularly for your U15 Bantam Prep, given no development camps are taking place? How do you plan to take that team on?
So the biggest thing that I've done this year, every opportunity that I get, I've been watching hockey, whether it's live, going on road trips. I think I got to watch hockey. My own team games, when we're on the road, we get the opportunity to watch a lot of hockey there, as well as watching hockey on Hockey TV or any streams that are available online. And like Jeremy said as well, I have reached out to a lot of people that I know in the hockey community as well about certain players. And the virtual scouting has been very good for us as well, because we've had families sending in video of their sons playing over the winter this year, and I've had those conversations with those kids as well. But a lot of it has come down to a lot of the kids that have been interested, I've seen play, or I know people that I've seen play, and we rely on that information. Obviously, when the school starts up, we get on the ice, there might be some shifting going on around based off how kids developed over the summer, whether that's from a strength standpoint or skill standpoint, things like that. But heading into this season, into the new school year, we have a pretty good idea of where we see kids being, and obviously kids are going to have the opportunity to move up if they've earned that opportunity.
Perfect. I'll ask Craig this question. What does a typical day look like for a Notre Dame Hound?
It's a pretty jam-packed day. We start typically in the morning. You get up, go for breakfast. There's a lot of times there's extra school help available before our assembly in the morning. We all join together as a school every morning at 8:45, have an assembly to start the day off. You're then going from classes between 9 and 3:30. Your hockey block or hockey practice is typically built into one of those days, as Jeremy was talking about. After school, there's always something else going on for the females at the school. A lot of them are multi-sport athletes, so depending on the time of the season, the time of the year, we have kids playing senior volleyball, senior basketball, badminton, other sports as well as hockey. So a lot of times after school, they're either in the gym, in the shooting center, getting their extra work in, or doing their other sports. So there's a lot of communication from me with the other coaches on staff that aren't hockey coaches to make sure that we're allowing the girls to play multiple sports. Then you have dinner. After dinner, there's study hall every night. So you're basically going from 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night when study hall's finished, and there's some free time. Usually ends up with the girls congregating in social time in the arena because there's always a hockey game going on and a lot of camaraderie that goes on until curfew for the dorms.
Thanks, Craig. Jeremy, I'll ask you, I have a couple questions here for Jeremy. First one is, when do you plan on finalizing commitments and offers for various teams?
Well, we're in the process right now. I mean, with these times, not going to wait around. We want to make sure that the players that we're confident about and that we've seen have a strong feeling for. If they're willing to commit to us, we're willing to commit spots today. And in a perfect world, we like to keep some spots open and have kids compete for them at the start of the school year. But in these times, I understand parents that would like to know, hey, if I'm going to go Notre Dame, where's my kid fit in? And it might be a situation where if we're not sure, we'll be honest to them up front. We'll tell you, hey, it might be between AAA and AA. It could be a between player, or it could be a midget A player. Transparency is the best process, obviously. But we got a family and we got a player that we're confident that fits at a certain level and they'd like to commit, we're going to do that.
Perfect. The next question, Jeremy, I'll let you answer this one as well, is how much individual goalie time is spent with the goalie coach per week?
Well, again, I say we're on the ice with our goalie coaches almost every practice they're out there. And a lot of times before practice, Rusty will send us their goalie schedule for the next month. And what we've asked our coach to do is set aside 15, sometimes 20 minutes aside for practice for our goalie coaches to work with our goalies. So if we're getting on the ice, could be as simple as the first 20 minutes of warm-up drills for our goalie-specific, drills. Could be a opportunity for our coaches. We want to work on a power play breakout or do power skating. At the start of practice, do some skill development. We'll send our goalie coaches down to the other end while we use the ice for that. So they're on the ice almost every day with their goalies. It really is, I think, a program where our goalies take huge steps in their development. They get a lot of attention. We have, again, weekly goalie sessions where our junior A players or AAA midget players get on the ice with Rusty, and we'll have 5 or 6 stations set up, and we'll work on their goalie movements, crease movements, work on their skating, work on their agility, and have a goalie-specific practice for them. So video as well. That's one thing we didn't talk about. All our games are videoed for the most part. We use Huddle, so we can break down, use video as a teaching tool. Our goalies can watch their goals. Sometimes during a game, I'll look at my goalies. They want to see it, and it's filmed between periods, and we'll show them the video. If they don't want to see it till after, that's fine. They can review it afterwards. But the ability to use video to work on their game is there as well. So our goalies get a ton of work, and they want to go over video with Rusty or with Alex. They can simply set up an email appointment and chat about it. So they get a ton of work. They get, I'd say, more than any other program I've seen or witnessed, because our goalie coaches are here 24/7, and they put a lot of time into our goalies.
Perfect. I don't know if you guys will be able to answer this question. It is what intramural sports are available. I could actually answer this one. You can't see me, but intramural sports that are available for grade 9 and students. We actually don't tend to have intramurals here. The kids tend to be quite busy. We do have high school sports that are offered. Football for grade 9 boys would be football. There's soccer. In the spring, there's baseball. There's also badminton, track and field. There's cross country. There's quite a few. Pretty much any high school sport that would be offered in a normal high school, we offer it here. So the kids do have the opportunity to be multi-sport athletes. We do, through our dorm boarding system, have intramural nights where the kids will get together and do dodgeball or do fun stuff like that. But we don't tend to have a typical high school intramural program, just because our kids tend to be quite busy participating in hockey and other sports. So,
and one thing too on that, Don, is again, for our multi-sport athletes, which we have, I know some of the kids play soccer, football, rugby, baseball, whatever it is on the female and male side. We make it work with our scheduling. Our high school athletic director will get in touch with our hockey ops. We'll look at scheduling. So if they have a game on a certain time frame, or provincials or playoffs, we're in constant contact with our coaching staff. We're not going to hold it against our players. Obviously, some choose not to play 2 sports, but again, we're on the ice from basically second day of school up till middle of May, because our ice does stay in till then, and we still work on our individual skill development. But if a player wants to play a secondary sport during the hockey season, there's a crossover like football or soccer. Yeah, we're okay with that. So we make it work.
In the U15 prep or other divisions, Jeremy, you can answer this one as well. Is it equal playing time?
It's fair playing time. I mean, I think throughout the course of the season, there's going to be players that are on and players are going to be off. And that could be your top players. It could be your so-called, fourth liners. So in the day, it's going to be equal at times. If a team's playing well and the 4 lines are rolling, they're all going to get the opportunity. I think with power play time, at some point during the season, early in the year, there's going to be different units that are going to get used. If they have success, they'll get the opportunity. But at some point, they're all going to get on it. And PK, same thing. Late in the game, if you're, we coaches to decide who's going to be on that ice, that last minute for that big face-off or that last power play to tie the game up or preserve the lead on the PK, whatever it is. So it's a work in progress. And end of the day, for goalies, we pretty much rotate. every other game, or we might say you're going to play 2 in a row, and next guy gets 2 in a row. But if a team's struggling and the goalie gets on a little bit of a hot run there or streak, then yeah, you're going to ride that goalie a little bit longer. And but we're always, again, it's end of the day, it's fair ice time, and I think the players understand that. And I tell our players every year that we don't dictate your ice time, you do. And if you're doing what we ask on the ice, off the ice, in practices, being a good teammate, you're going to play. And if you deviate from the game plan and you're going against the grain, then yeah, maybe you lose some ice or you're taking on a discipline penalty. We're going to hold our players accountable. But overall, I think throughout the season, your ice time and where you fit in your lineup, the players will decide, who's going to be a first line guy, who's going to be your second and third. But at the same time, we were careful not to pigeonhole kids into roles either. There's no such thing as a fourth line checker in Bantams or even a midget. We want kids to still, have the ability to be creative offensively and not be afraid to make mistakes. But obviously, puck management and game management is important as well. We want to teach those values to our young players as well. So, in a nutshell, yeah, we prefer to use fair ice time over equal ice time.
We're going to limit it 2 more questions here. One question, Jeremy, is what is the number of players carried usually on each team?
So for our midget AAA team, I'll let Craig talk on the female side, but on the male side, for our AAA Hounds, we carry 20. For the other teams, we carry 19.
Perfect. Craig, if you want to go for the female side?
Yeah, it's the same thing for the midget AAA. I guess it's the U18 AAA leagues. It's a 20-man roster, and on the AA, it's a 19-man roster.
Perfect. Next question here.
Also, on that side, real quick,
sorry.
With our team structure, there is affiliation. So, like for example, on the male side, the female side, our AA is AP up with our AAA team. On the male side, our Bantams can affiliate with our U16s, U17s, and U18s. Our midget AA and U16s and U17s can AP with our Hounds top team. So we do have the ability for our players to move up and down throughout the season. They get 10 AP games during the year, and once their season is done, let's say my team, U17 team, is season's over, and the Hounds are in the playoffs, and they want to use some of my players, they can play any unlimited amount of games after that. So I think the affiliate system is real important too, that our players, if showing the need, showing the ability to play up, we'll get that opportunity for sure. Every year it happens.
Perfect. And Jeremy, I'll let you answer this just because you're a graduate of Notre Dame, but what is dorm life like for our students?
I thought for me, my experience in the dorms was probably my most memorable time. I say that because the friendships I made, I still run into so many Hounds today when I my recruiting trips or my travels, old teammates, old friends, old classmates, and those are the memories I'll cherish the most. I played on some very good teams here. I played on a team that finished third in the nation my senior year. I played with a lot of guys that went on to play at high levels from NHL down. But overall, my greatest memory was I spent a lot of time with my buddies, my teammates, whether it was in the dorms studying, whether it was in the dorms, playing cards, whether it was in the dorms just sitting around, talking shop, having fun, being kids. And that's the one thing here at Notre Dame is a place for everybody. Doesn't matter what your background is, what your personality is, you're going to fit in with your peer group. There's so many different people from so many different walks of life. I had roommates from Japan. I had roommates from Switzerland, all over Canada, U.S., you name it. And to me, I loved it. I mean, I got to spend, my free time in the dormers with my buddies, hanging out and being a kid. So obviously hockey is a big part of what we do here. It's probably the reason most of you are on this webinar. But you'll leave here understanding that Notre Dame is much more than a place for hockey. The friends you make for life, we see it every year. You see when that last day of school and the kids are leaving, a lot of tears are being shed. A lot of kids don't want to leave. I know right now a lot of these kids want to be back here. They're really upset they're not having the ability to finish what they started here, not just on the ice but off the ice. Our graduating class is crushed right now. They can't possibly won't be graduating from here and doing their ceremony. So, it's the off-ice stuff you're going to remember the most. I mean, you look back on things as an athlete, and the one thing you'll always remember, if the scores disappear, you forget, your memory gets faded, but you always remember your teammates.
So the other part of this I'll just add into is that each of our dorms do have a full-time house parent that are with the students. The students are under 24-hour supervision while they're at Notre Dame. So that is how it takes place. The one, we have a grade 9 dorm, so the grade 9 boys will be in the dorm. The female dorm, it's one dorm, so all 8 grades are in it. The dorms tend to be divided up between grade 9 and 10s, and then 11 and 12s would live together. And that's the kind of the same on the male side as well. 10s and 11s would live together, and 11 and 12s would live together. We try and keep it that way. They're looking at doing a little restructuring in regards to dorms, but nothing that would majorly affect that in regards to how we structure our dorms for upcoming year. But just to give you that background, that is kind of how the dorms do run.
And if you're really good at baking goods, just let me know, because your kid will be real popular. It's a good barter system in the dorms. A lot of trading going on for the home cooked goods.
Exactly. The last question here, we'll wrap up today. Do you have to live in Wilcox in dorms to attend Notre Dame?
No, I mean, we do have families that do move into Wilcox that rent or buy houses that go to school here. We have local students from around, specifically, you got like Rollo, Milestone, those areas where they go to Notre Dame as day students. We have 5-day student options, so people within, I think it's a 90-kilometer radius of Notre Dame, have the ability to attend our school, be in the dorms Monday through Friday, and then weekends spend at home on Saturday, Sunday. They leave Friday after school and spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday at home. So yeah, we have most of our student body is here, but we do have local and day students and 5-day students. But overall, for the experience, my recommendation, if you can make it work, is the 7-day, because your kid's gonna love it. They're gonna really enjoy the friendships they make, and you know, everybody's different, but I think we have options for all our families, which is great. And if you have more questions for that, admissions is willing to answer. We had some questions from people like, can we, you know, move in with a friend? You know, we don't have that ability. We are a nonprofit school. We have certain things we have to abide by, and one of those is one of your parents has to live in this area to be a day student and can't be in a billet situation. So, but any questions on that, you can let me know, or let admissions know. We can answer that as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up. I just want to reiterate that I will be doing a follow-up email, which would have a link to this recording. And we'll also provide contact information for Craig, James, and Jeremy if you would like to get in hold of them. Thank you guys very much for taking your time today and joining us. If you have any other questions, you have my email right now. Don't hesitate to shoot that over to me and I will get it answered for you. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.